Boys is a new anime film that currently in the middle of the limited release that show in a few theater. He gets a new classmate, a young girl whose dad was very excited to communicate with her classmates by bringing in a notebook not taken and noted she's not get the students better, and eventually she's became a target for this boy, and his bully every changes she gets. He makes fun of the way she reads, the fact that she is unable to vocalize like everyone else. He even goes as far as he gangs her hearing aids but out and in front them around the class. He eventually chooses the girl, leave the school. After a few years later and this boy traumatized with the way he treated this girl, he eventually became a simpleton to be bullied as well because of his actions toward this girl. So now, it is older he's trying to track her down and he's trying to learn a style language properly so that he can communicate with her and sing her some kind of redemption. This movie is hard-lunching. It's extremely difficult to watch sometimes, especially if you have a theme of this type of remit in school. This movie is tough to watch. It's very sad sometimes, but it does think differently than other anime films. This movie sidesteps a lot of the melodrama that some anime following too. And it just focuses on youth and struggle as so many kids closer. And in particular, a different viewports, usually movies are enemy of this vein, of follow the bullet character, and if you were terrible for them and you want to save them, if she's kind redemption, sure, you definitely want this girl to be happy, but to this movie, passive followed boy and you says the evolution of the young kid who feels perfectly fine tasking the deaf girl hearings around after school. A man who definitely traumatized by the pain conflicted by others, it doesn't come back on him once kids saw how purified the girl was ever treatment. He began to turn on his boy and now the side of this of his the enemy. So now he's become even more reclusive in this girl. Used to be he doesn't make the eye contact people anymore. And the animators made a really strong creative choice to have everyone in this guy's world have a blue X spell over these faces. And if you ever communicate with one of them or abuses of someone trying to connect with him, you see that blue X spell away and suddenly with the person there. Because you're watching somebody to no one who knows that he communicates with anyone. In fact, he really never did his only way of communicating with people. His young was making fun of them, and so now as an adult, he has to live a normal life, but he has no idea how actually communicate with people because I really was never thought that he was never bothered to learn. What makes this film special is with usually with anime romancing. You have two characters that are perfectly okay with loving each other, but there are some circumstances that keeping them apart. In this movie, you have someone who does feeling for the other but you've done to speak despicable things from the past that they have no idea that have break that barrier to get a null of friendship. Plus, one of the big beautiful things about this movie is the conversation they have signed. Oftentimes that she's relived sweet scenes that are mostly silenced with signing back forth you read so much in eyes and this is of course derivative to some really animations. This is the beautiful of the movie. And it's a kind of the movie that gives me hope similar to your name. And the other things, it gives me hope by difficulty, financially, and it's not the end of great enemy film. It's nice to say this movie, as far for issues, is very long. It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. And there are sequences looking back for like you that you have in the film conversation between side character is that too little but lets you know maybe two things are on their mind but in the end it doesn't really have much weight or impact. I really like this movie. I had a great time and has an interesting character that feel real, a very heartful story that not too many film or anime tackle. It also has an interesting undercurrent of possibility to explore this angle of building reincarnation.